is it possible to have a stable, peaceful world with a good balance of power where it's China and U.S. as superpowers? It's a bipolar world, no longer unipolar.
Yeah. Okay. So you're hypothesizing a world where they dominate Asia,
Yeah,
and we dominate the Western Hemisphere.
yep.
I believe there would be a great deal of security competition, intense security competition between those two superpowers.
The definition of intense matters here. So it could be small military conflicts, or it could be extremely large, unstable military conflicts. Right?
Well, conflict, let's use the word war.
Okay.
So I distinguish between security competition and war. And what I'm telling you is you'll have an intense security competition where there's no shooting. Or if there's shooting, it's mainly proxies that are doing the fighting.
Got it.
Much like the Vietnam War, right? Or you could have a case where one of those superpowers was involved in a war against a proxy of the other superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Korean War, think the Korean War.
Mm-hmm.
The United States fought the Chinese, who were allied with the Soviets at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But a war between the United States and China, just like a war between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War, that's what you really want to avoid. So I think you'd have an intense security competition, right? You'd have wars involving proxies of each of those two superpowers. And you would probably have some wars where one of the superpowers was involved in a proxy, right, with the other one of the other superpowers' proxies.
So it seems likely then, if that's the case, then it would be Taiwan as the proxy and U.S. fighting China through the proxy of Taiwan.
Well, that would assume the United States. But you want to remember, you're hypothesizing a situation where China dominates Asia.
Oh, it already has dominated.
Yeah, it's already dominated Taiwan.
I see.
But
where do you find the proxies?
Well,
Australia?
The Middle East could be a good case.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Oh,
Persian Gulf. Right.
Oh, boy. And then our discussion of Israel becomes even more dramatically.
Yeah, well, Israel gets involved. I think in this scenario, if you're talking about a U.S.-China competition, right, and you're talking about the Middle East, I think it's the Gulf. It's the Saudis, the Iranians, the Iraqis. It's the oil.
Don't you think it could be Israel versus Iran with some very 1984 kind of dramatic partnership of Iran, Russia, and China versus the United States, Europe, and Israel?
I think that's possible. Yeah,
Oh,
I think that's possible. Yeah. Now that I hadn't thought about it until you said it, but yeah, I think that is possible.
Isn't that terrifying?
Yeah. Well, in your scenario where China already dominates Asia and we dominate the Western Hemisphere, I think you start talking about where the most likely places that the United States and China go head to head or fight through proxies. I think it is the Gulf or the Middle East. And the scenario that you posit